Sorry about that. My mic was off, so I missed the entire intro. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of MetsMania. I'm JJ Seglio. It's been a while since we've done one of these episodes. I apologize. I've been so busy with school and stuff like that. So, again, my apologies, but let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into the show. The Mets are coming off a 6 games to nothing series sweep against the Colorado Rockies, and in that final game, they ended up winning 13-5. They played very well in that series against Colorado. The first game got a little bit sloppy. I mean, you only won 4-2 thanks to Francisco Lindor's two RBI double that ended up winning you the game. But then if you want to go even further, you could talk about in game two, the Mets ended up winning that game 8-1. They looked very solid against this team in general. But to be fair, it's not something that we shouldn't be surprised about. I mean, you think about it, this is the Colorado Rockies after all. This is not a good baseball team by any means. This is a team that the Mets should be crushing with ease. And I mean with ease. This should be straight dominance whatsoever. So I'm not going to act like I'm overly surprised by this because I'm not. This is what I expected. I need the Mets to keep doing this on a more usual basis. But the real topic of discussion has been the struggles of this offense, and it's showed peaks and valleys as of late. I mean, you look at some of the scores they put up in the last few games: 13-8, 6, 5, 5, 8. And then you have games where they're putting up 3, 2, 4, 5 again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 2, 0, 2, 4. Going all the way back to that dreadful series against the Pirates. You ended up taking 2 of 3 in that series. By the way, the Mets have done a very good job trying not to lose series. They have not dropped a series since the Boston Red Sox, which went all the way back to late May, right after they dropped one to the Yankees. So now I like what I've seen, especially from Juan Soto. He looked very, very good in this series against Colorado, where he reached base 6 times in the final game of the series. So that to me was a very promising step forward, if you will, because that is how I describe it. It was a step forward. Again, something that you're supposed to do against the Colorado Rockies, but to see Soto finally emerging is definitely a bit refreshing. As we get on to our next topic, which is what happened out west. The Mets ended up taking a total 4 of 7 from the LA Dodgers in total, where they took 2 of 3 in New York and split with them out in Los Angeles in a series where the Mets probably should have won all 7 games. I'm being completely honest. That is a game that the Mets 100% should have won all 7 games. And I'm not trying to be facetious about it. I'm being genuine. They should not have lost that 13-inning game. That game was bullshit. You should not have lost the game where Freddie Freeman walked you off, where Brandon Nimmo got turned around in the 10th inning, where Tanner Scott completely shut you down. You also should not have lost the last game, and the last game may have been the biggest anomaly of the 7 games itself. But you have to look deeper into it. You have to look at, could this be a potential NLCS rematch? I've been hearing things. You look at the Mets, you look at the Dodgers, they're very, very similar. They really are. You look at their 1-4, you look at the Mets 1-4. You've got Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. On the Mets side, you have Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso. Soto and Ohtani are probably the main comparison. You've got Lindor and Betts. You have Nimmo and Hernandez and Alonso and Freeman. So very solid competition on all fronts of the spectrum between the Mets and the Dodgers. And you look at the pitching staff. Both pitching staffs are significantly banged up. Dodgers are obviously more banged up as they're missing their boy Blake Snell, who is by far their best pitcher on that staff. Former AL Cy Young winner who has showed lots of brilliance this season, Roki Sasaki, who we just might not see at all. You have probably the front runner for NL Cy Young and Yoshinobu Yamamoto alongside Paul Skeens, who would be who would kill me if he went to the LA Dodgers. I mean, I'd probably be losing sleep at night if that was the case. But the more I look at it, this is a very potential real scenario for another playoff series between the Mets and the Dodgers. But speaking of pitching, we have to talk about this New York Mets pitching lab. I mean, what I have seen from these guys is just off the charts. This is a squad, and it's crazy. I'm going to pull up Fangraphs just so we could take a peek at this ourselves. But, like, you look at some of these guys on this pitching staff in general. Clay Holmes, David Peterson, Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning, Kodai Senga, Paul Blackburn. And it's just pure schadenfreude. Complete schadenfreude is how amazing that this pitching staff has been up until this point. I mean, genuinely, let's take a look out on Fangraphs over here. This is incredible. This is something that I would have never in a million years thought I would see. This Mets pitching staff is number one in almost every single category. Like, I'm looking at this staff and I am just appalled. I am blown away by what I've seen. Tyler McGill with a WAR of 1.5. David Peterson, a WAR of 1.4. Kodai Senga, WAR of 1.4. Clay Holmes, WAR of 1. Yeah, these guys are so good. They are literally getting over 1 in WAR. What I have seen from this pitching staff is truly a thing of beauty. They all have been very good in terms of innings pitched. Their K rate is unbelievable. By the way, shout out to Clay Holmes with a near, the batters have an almost 1% chance, like 0.1% chance of getting hits with 2 strikes when Clay Holmes is in that position. I am just shocked that this is what it has come to in terms of this pitching staff. I mean, it is just incredible. It is absolutely incredible that this is what the pitching staff has turned into this season. Like, look at some of these numbers. Tyler McGill, 5-4, 3.76 ERA. He's probably been the worst. Out of everyone here, he's probably been the worst. Clay Holmes, 7-3, 2.95 ERA. With a whip of 119. The opponent's average against him, 235. And the Yankee fans laughed at us. I remember. David Peterson, 4-2, 2.8 ERA in 12 games with a whip of 126. He's also been very, very, very solid up until this point. Kodai Senga. To say that Kodai Senga has been a godsend is an understatement. 6-3, a 1.59 ERA. If I'm not mistaken, he leads the league in ERA. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure he is top 3 in ERA. He is. He's just behind Chris Bubik and Nathan Eovaldi. He's above Max Fried, by the way. So shout out to that scrub over in the Bronx, who I cannot stand worth a damn. Look further into it. Griffin Canning, 6-2, a 2.9 ERA, who was one of the worst pitchers in baseball last year, by the way. And to make things even crazier about Griffin Canning, his only bad start of the entire season was against the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox were the only team that got to him all season so far. The Chicago White Sox, the only bad game he had. And then don't even get me started on this bullpen. Oh my God, the bullpen. Huascar Brazaban, a 1.72. Reed Garrett, under 1. Max Cranick, kind of crashing back down to earth a little bit. Edwin Diaz. He has been lights out lately, minus the one bad outing he had against the Dodgers. Other than that, this pitching staff has been nothing short of exceptional, and I'm very excited to see that. Now, the next thing I want to get into is another thing that has been kind of grinding my gears a little bit, and that is the fact that we do not know the whereabouts of how some of these kids are going to end up. My biggest example is Ronnie Mauricio. There's no question about it that Ronnie Mauricio has power. We all know this. The biggest concern with Ronnie Mauricio is where is he going to play every day. That to me is probably the biggest concern. As I'll pull up the Ronnie Mauricio graphic of his 456-foot bomb, absolute bomb against the Colorado Rockies. Again, it's Colorado's. Was his first home run of the season since he got called back up to the majors. First one since 2023. But look at that, 456 feet, 110 off the bat. That's pretty freaking incredible. And to make things even crazier about Ronnie Mauricio is the fact that he can be doing all this with the bat and putting up these amazing numbers, yet you just don't know where he's going to be. That to me is the craziest part about everything. You do not know where Ronnie Mauricio is going to be playing every single day because of how good some of these Mets bats have been. Look further into Brett Beatty for example. Sorry, I can't even talk right now. I'm a little bit under the weather. Trying to do what I got to do. Brett Beatty has been very, very, very good this year, especially lately. But he's been crashing down to earth recently. He was hitting over 300. He's down to 229 right now. Still has 7 home runs, 23 RBIs, with a slash line of 229, 273, 431. That's not good. But Beatty's defense has been the biggest part about his game so far as of lately has been his defense. His bat came back down to earth, but his defense has been impressive. Mark Vientos hit the 10-day IL. You don't even know how Luis Angel Acuna is going to do. His defense is getting better. It's just you don't know with some of these guys. And Ronnie is one of them. He's a spark plug. No question about it. I'm very impressed with what I've seen from this kid. I love Ronnie Mauricio. I think he's a fantastic baseball player. What he chooses to be a fantastic baseball player. But my biggest concern whatsoever is quite simply the fact that you don't know where some of these guys are going to end up, especially Francisco Alvarez, which is a whole nother debate about the starting catching spot. But we'll get into that on the next episode because I'm at the point where I'm starting to consider that it looks to me I like him at third. Yeah, I very well could see Ronnie Mauricio being the everyday third baseman. But it wouldn't make sense since Brett Beatty has been so good defensively. I think him at second base and DH is probably the most likely scenario. No, I'm not one to use hypotheticals, but I'm just going off of what I'm thinking, and what I'm thinking is that's what it's going to end up being. Oh, great. Zach Wheeler's already getting torched. Fantastic. Rip my fantasy team again. Either way, these kids have a lot to prove, but we're going to see how it goes. Our next topic is about something that has been on the mind of Met fans for a while, and that is how Pete Alonso has just become an absolute godsend. And I mean godsend. He's now chasing Darryl Strawberry. He just hit his 243rd home run against the Colorado Rockies. He is trying to get to Darryl Strawberry's all-time Mets home run record of 252, where he's only 9 home runs away, and they're probably going to do something crazy for him when he does end up breaking that record. You have no idea what's going to happen. We're going to figure this out, but Pete Alonso, he basically just cemented himself as a lifetime Met. No question about it. From what I have seen, this is going to be his guy. This is going to be his team going forward. And you sit and wonder, what is going to happen when you hit this offseason? Is Pete Alonso going to opt out of his contract? I hope not. But I have a very bad hunch that that's going to be the case because of how good he's been this season. And he could probably demand like a $30-35 million a year contract. Let's face it, Pete is only getting paid $27 million a year. I know it's a 2-year contract, but you have to give him that 5-6 year extension. It's time. Give the man his money. But he will be breaking Daryl's record. And there's no question about it. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in 60 seconds as you're watching MetsMania. And we are back after coming off a series sweep of the Colorado Rockies. The Mets have their hands full these next few days. Welcome to another edition of Know Your Foe. This time, we're taking on the Nats. Those stupid, annoying, pesky Washington Nationals, who have been playing very good baseball as of late. I cannot disagree with that. He has been very, very, very solid. They're better than the Braves right now. It's crazy to think that, but they are. Alvarez is still the youngest catcher in the bigs. Yes, that is true. But if I'm on a championship caliber team, I want Luis Torrens playing every day. But again, that's a topic for another time. But let's get right into business. The New York Mets are taking on the Washington Nationals, a 3-game set. Mackenzie Gore versus Griffin Canning is the matchup for tomorrow. In his last 3 appearances, Mackenzie Gore has been damn near unhittable. A 0.47 ERA, 9 hits allowed, 24 strikeouts, and 4 walks. You can't see the walk line, but there it is right there. This is also a Nationals team that has some pop. These guys can hit the ball and hit the ball efficiently. That is something that does not get talked about enough. Are the Washington Nationals. They have themselves a great lineup in terms of batting this year. And to me, it's kind of concerning. This is a sneaky good team. James Wood has been having a very solid season with a WRC plus of 150. CJ Abrams, 120. Alex Call, he's been pretty solid this year. I don't want to say that I'm concerned about this Nationals lineup, but I am. I genuinely am. This is a solid team. Alex Cole hitting 232. James Wood, 264. 15 home runs. He's been a godsend this year. It appears that we will not be seeing CJ Abrams, potentially. I'm hearing he might still be, I don't think he's going to be injured. I'm just trying to find what this potential lineup would look like. This is a good Nationals team in terms of just stats in general. Keibert Ruiz has been solid this year, hitting 255 with an OPS of 624. CJ Abrams, he's got 8 home runs this year, 20 RBIs. Nathaniel Lowe, 40 RBIs, 8 home runs, but he's batting 231. This is a Nationals team that cannot hit for average. You look at a guy like Dylan Cruz, he's batting 196. Josh Bell, he's batting 179. Nathaniel Lau, 231. Jose Tena, 252. Jacob Young, 235. Alex Cole will most likely be getting the start this series. But you have to think about just their pitching. Their pitching is definitely their biggest strength, especially with, as you see, their matchup in Game 1, it is Mackenzie Gore versus Griffin Canning. Now, Game 2 is a little bit different. Game 2 is Jake Irvin versus David Peterson, as you can see on my graphic right there. Jake Irvin was a 4.02 ERA. He's 5-2 this season. David Peterson, who's 4.2 the 2.80 ERA. Do not get fooled by that ERA. And the reason that I bring that up is because Jake Irvin has torched the Mets in the past. Last year, 4th of July, Jake Irvin went 8 scoreless innings. Nationals won 1-0. You have to think about this is a good pitching staff, and the Nationals have been playing solid baseball lately. 5-5 in their last 10, but they're only 5 games under 500. Is the run differential concerning? Absolutely, it's concerning. A minus 51 run differential, one of the worst in all of baseball, same as the Chicago White Sox. But this is a decent team. You can't take anyone lightly. As for Game 3, it's an old friend, Mike Soroka, taking on Kodai Senga in Game 3. That should be a solid one, but I think the Mets can go out and take 2 or 3 from the Nationals. I don't know how we're going to do against Mackenzie Gore, especially with how bad the Mets hit against left-handed pitching, but that's a topic for another time. Thank you guys for watching this episode of MetsMania. I know it was a little bit short, but that's because I went solo today. We'll see you guys on the next one, and let's go Mets.